So December 2023, we're talking progression, spiritual warfare, just a lot of changes that I think may feel uncomfortable, but can actually be really good for us in the long run, depending on what your perspective is. So we're talking about the lunar alignments in this segment. We have on the 12th, we have a new moon in Sag. And on the 26th, which happens to be my birthday, we're going to have a full moon in Cancer. So, fire moon for a new moon, water sign for the full moon. So, that new moon in Sagittarius, new moon time for setting intention, or just even just taking a second to just be like, I need to be more intentional with the rest of my month. I need to be more focused with the rest of my month. Like if you just do that, that's good enough. You don't have to get like super, super deep about everything. So, new moon in Sagittarius asks, what does a healer look like? How do you discern what a healer is? In the first segment, we talked about like that Neptune going direct in Pisces energy. And that's super important because we're talking about spiritual warfare and how people are like just changing perspectives on so many things. And so Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, it's fire energy. It's healing, but it talks about how deep our wounds may be as well. With constantly having to attune our discernment, we have to have a clear understanding of what a healer looks like. Like they talk in the Bible about all the time, like you never know when you're in the presence of an angel or when you're entertaining angels. And yet, I teach attunement and discernment, discernment all the time. And people take from it what they want to take from it when they're able to take from it. But there's still people who are having trouble actually seeing past people's masks. Like that is really concerning because we're like, if we're continuing to have trouble with that, people are like, humanity's really gonna have a hard time because people can just be propped up in a pulpit. People can just be, have the prettiest retreat. You have all the Instagrammable moments, and people still aren't healed. Like we just went through years of that where people were doing all the retreats and all of this stuff, and people still aren't healed. So what does that tell you? What does that say? That we're constantly in this space where people are gravitating towards these things and still not healed. Well, I mean, partially it can say because healing is not linear in that respect. And yes, it takes time and it's a lifetime kind of thing. We're always healing from something. We're always progressing, right? All these things are very true. But at the same time, it can also speak to who you're choosing as your healer and where you're choosing to step into these spaces. Are they actually healing? And the reality is a lot of them aren't. The reality is there are just a lot of people just being contrary online and just socially, and they haven't actually given anything that is healing. They can tell you maybe what not to do. They can shake the table a little bit, but then once all of that's done, where's the healing? Once I've poked you and opened you up, like you can't just walk away. There has to actually be answers. And everybody's not anointed or appointed to provide those answers. Everybody's not. And so this is where discernment is going to really be key. And this is where we have to truly kind of, put on our discerning hats and have an understanding like that looks good over there, but that's not really a healer. Or even if you stepped into it and it didn't work out, where you're just able to just be like, no, that didn't really work out for me over there. Maybe it's not good for you. Maybe it's good for somebody else. That's also true. But we have to be discerning about what healers actually look like. If you want to go deeper into your natal chart, you want to look at where Sagittarius is in your chart and also Jupiter, and just kind of ask yourself what aspects of these places need healing, and that's also where you can just kind of do a prayer to call to you the spaces and the people, the experiences that will be more healing for you. I think that's important too, to just be able to even call to yourself and be like, okay, I am ready for this level of healing. I'm ready for this additional thing. That makes a difference as well. And then on the 26th, we have the full moon in Cancer. We're rounding out the month with full moon energy. Moon is ruled by Cancer. So that's a home placement as we leave out of this year. Also leave out of the month. So this is us looking at our emotions versus intuition. There's been a lot of illusions being blasted, a lot of disillusion, just a lot of structures coming undone. What you thought was one thing, the mask has come off. And so you have to really be able to tighten up and use your intuition from there to decide how far you'll go with something, to decide what you're going to do, what corner you're going to turn, what things you need to face. And so that full moon in Cancer is just really going to help us as we move into the next calendar year be very decisive, confidently, about what to do with the divine knowledge that we uncover. Emotions versus intuition. So take a look, if you want to look deeper, take a look at your natal chart. Look and see where Cancer is and where the moon is, and look at those places and try to tell yourself more of the truth. Look at how to accept more of the truth in those spaces.